Welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. I'm Matt Del Vecchio, specializing in life transitions, the senior living industry, and elder care planning. Well, what a week it was for me personally. My son graduated from McGill as a mechanical engineer, and there was a graduation ceremony on Thursday. It was a very proud dad moment behind the gates there at McGill under the tent, and I'm sure there will be many proud parent moments over the next few weeks as you see your children reach graduation milestones. Enjoy and cherish those moments. Did you know that June is ALS Awareness Month? And I'm very pleased to have Claudine Cook on the line. Claudine is the executive director of the ALS Society of Quebec, and we're trying to get also Norm MacIsaac on the line. Norm has been living with ALS, as sometimes known as Lou Gehrig's disease, since 2014. Claudine, we're going to start with you. Welcome to Life Unrehearsed.
Hi, I'm happy to be here, Matt.
Yeah, well, thank you. I know you are one busy person. As mentioned, June is ALS Awareness Month. You have a ton of events going on, so I really do thank you for taking a little time here on a Sunday. And I'd like you first, if you can, Claudine, if you could define ALS for us.
Sure. ALS is a fatal motor neuron disease. It's when the motor neurons of the brain and the spinal cord die. So people with ALS, that connection is not working. So your body's not receiving the signals to either move, walk, talk, eventually leads to a paralysis. And ultimately death between 2 to 5 years is the average life span. And so this is why raising awareness for this disease is really important, not only during ALS Awareness Month, but all year long.
Yeah, all year long is right, but a special emphasis now, and why we want to get you on the air in the month of June. It's amazing when I hear you say 2 to 5 year lifespan, and there are we're seeing progress, Claudine, aren't we? And for example, Norm, who we're still trying to get on the line here, has had it since 2014, 9 years, and still making a real contribution to society and making a difference in the community. Can you tell us, Claudine, about any significant advances in the treatment of ALS?
Yes, absolutely. There's so much hope in ALS research today. In the last decade since the Ice Bucket Challenge, there's been just 3 treatments that came to market. There's lots of clinical trials happening, new promising treatments for a familial form of ALS that's coming to Canada that was recently approved in the U.S. And, we just need government to accelerate the approval process so that we could get our families on any type of, trial that they can try so that they can ultimately, find more treatments, extend the lives of people with ALS, improve their quality of life, and ultimately cure it.
Nice to hear, because it is such could be a devastating disease, and nice to hear some advancements here. I think we have Norm on the line. Norm MacIsaac, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Norm. Well, last time we talked, it was in 2019, and we were just saying, 2 to 5 years lifespan. And Norm, you are still going strong. You've had ALS since being diagnosed in 2014. You are such an inspiration, Norm, and I have to ask you about one of the things we talked about last time on the show was that you were an inspiration to others. You traveled extensively, and that hasn't stopped. I understand this year you actually made a trip to Australia. Is that correct? And can you tell us about it?
That is correct. In my book, The Best of the Worst News, I talk a lot about my travels, and if I could write again, I would write about my travels this year to Australia. My daughter now lives in Australia, and she's been with the same man for 5 years, and she wanted to get married. In 2020, we had had planned the trip, but because of COVID, we had to cancel.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2021, we announced to her that we would book our trip for 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And she told us, because you're coming, I'm going to get married while you're here.
Mm.
And you can imagine how difficult it is to travel when you're living with the ALS. And as my voice has been affected, also my mobility has been affected. And we didn't know if we wouldn't make it there because it's a long flight. We managed to get there. And the next challenge was that my daughter was getting married on the beach. And we talked about it for months in 2022 of how I could walk on the beach. I'm in a wheelchair, and my wheelchair would sink in the sand. But my daughter knew someone who was living with ALS in Australia, and he has a beach wheelchair, which is a 4x4 chair. So I was able to, and you can't see my air quotes, but I was able to walk my daughter down the aisle, accompanying her in my beach wheelchair to take her across the beach and attend the wedding with everyone. And I also use my synthesized voice to do a reading at her wedding. So it was wonderful. And really, when you talk about the best of the worst news, that is really my best moment was when I could accompany my daughter to go get married in Australia.
Norm, I don't know if there's a dry eye in a car in traffic listening to you, but you are a superhero. And I am so glad you were able to make it to Australia. We talked in 2019. Here we are, 2023. You're with ALS, devastating disease. And you were able to, we'll call, walk your daughter down the beach in the specialized chair, where we just had a guest talking about empathy and, unbelievable, and I'm so glad we're able to get you on the air today. June is ALS Awareness Month, and Norm, I want to thank you for coming on the air.
You're welcome. Thank you for raising awareness.
You are most welcome. That's Norm MacIsaac. He's been living with ALS since 2014. We also have on the line Claudine Cook, the Executive Director of the ALS Society of Quebec. Claudine, I was barely hanging on there. I'm going to ask you to stick around. Norm, thank you very much. Claudine, if you could hang around. We have another inspirational person, this time a young woman in her early 20s. Will be joining us. She is also living with ALS. Welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. Matt Del Vecchio here. Boy, oh boy, the texts are just coming in with our past guest, Norm MacIsaac, as you might have heard him. What an inspiring gentleman, able to see his daughter in Australia with all his struggles with ALS. As we try to promote ALS, as June is ALS Awareness Month. And we have on the line Claudine Cook. She's the Executive Director of the ALS Society of Quebec. And we're going to switch gears a little bit. We have another inspiring person. Her name is Amanda Tam. Amanda, are you on the line?
I am.
Hello, Amanda. I've read about your story. Claudine has talked all about you. And for our listeners, Amanda, first of all, how old are you now?
I am 22.
You're 22 years old. And tell me about the time just before your 21st birthday where you didn't think something was right.
Yeah, so I guess it all started January 2021. I started feeling weird, very weak. I assumed it was because of COVID, and I wasn't really getting out much, no working out. So I thought I just needed exercise. But then I had twitching in my fingers, my muscles, my gait pattern was changing. I had no grip strength, so that kind of all led me to see a doctor. And then starting my second year of university, I went to the MNI, and then I was diagnosed.
And with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis as the official term for ALS. Now, Amanda, in reading about your story, you have to be one of the most positive, upbeat people around. You've got tens of thousands of views on TikTok, and you're still doing that. And there's a new drug, from what I understand. It's called Albrioza, if I'm saying it right. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how that's affected your life?
Yeah, so Albrioza started in November of 2022. It's the third approved drug for ALS patients. It tastes awful, but it's supposed to have great results. I had a CTV News article about it, and how there's issues with RAMQ and having accessibility to it, but because I have private insurance, I was able to get it. The company cleared it up with me that because I'm on it, they wouldn't take away the drug access from me. But still, my whole point of the article was that I wanted everyone to have access to it, and not just people who have private insurance.
So, talking on Life on Rehearse with Amanda Tam, she was diagnosed with ALS at a young age. She's 22 years old now. So what is the final development with that? Were you able to continue your insurance? Because if I understand correctly, you were finishing university right around now. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we had to put me as a dependent on my mom's private insurance, so that means I can't get a full-time job. I have to stay at home. I can't really move forward, but that's, the bargain, the price to pay to have access to drugs and to have things covered, because medication is very expensive.
Yeah, well, Amanda, I really want to wish you the best, and you know what? Keep those TikTok videos going, and because you're just spreading the word, and in a whole new generation, we tend to think of ALS as perhaps affecting older people, but it does affect younger people like yourself. And I want to thank you for taking a little bit of your day to spread the word and bring a little more awareness to ALS, and wish you continued success with bringing more awareness, especially through those TikTok videos.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much.
All right, that's Andrea Tam, living with ALS. And we have Claudine Cook still on the line with us. Claudine is the Executive Director of ALS Society of Quebec. Claudine, a big month for you, but it's a big year for you every single year. Off air, you were just explaining some of the things that you are doing, and it's unbelievable. Just can't keep up with all you do. So maybe if we can get a shout out to some of the upcoming events in the month of June for ALS.
Sure. Well, if everyone go to our website to alsquebec.ca, we have our walk on June 17th at Parc Maisonneuve, but we also have walks across the province. We have a 2-day cycling event in August in Victoriaville, and we'll be expecting about 200 cyclists for this 2-day event. There's a lot of third-party events, and we need volunteers. We've just changed our new logo. We were going to have a new website that will be better, more user-friendly. That'll be online in a couple of weeks. And so it's really an exciting time for us and a time for our community to come together. And as I mentioned to you, our community is really strong and united, and it's people like Norm and Amanda and everybody touched by this disease that just fuels us to keep going strong. And we also have a research event, and we talked about the advancements of research. It's a hybrid event, so it's either in person or on Zoom, and the public is welcome to listen and learn about what's happening in ALS and ask questions to a diverse research panel with the researchers from across Quebec. And we're really close, and it's a really special community. Our researchers want to connect with our families, want to connect with people affected, and share their progress and have those one-on-one conversations. So, and at our walks, everybody, the researchers and our whole community comes together. So we invite people to come, volunteer, donate. Every action counts.
Oh, I love that. That's just one of the many fundraisers you're doing. So just one more. It's June 17th, called the Walk to End ALS. If people want to find out a little bit more about that, Claudine, and about ALS in general, where should we go?
To our website at alsquebec.ca.
All right, alsquebec.ca. Well, Claudine, thank you very much. We were finally able to do this, and I really appreciate you spreading the word, as June is ALS Awareness Month.
Well, thank you so much, Matt, for giving us this opportunity.
You're most welcome. That's Claudine Cook, Executive Director of the ALS Society of Quebec. We also heard that inspiring story from Norm MacIsaac, who made it to Australia to walk, I would say wheel, through the beach in the sand for his daughter's wedding. And we also had Amanda Tam, an inspiring 22-year-old woman living with ALS, doing some TikTok videos and making awareness about ALS. Next week on Life on Rehearse, we're going to talk about life after professional sports. Some Montrealers might know the name of Ernie Schrammeier. He's a West Islander, and he had a successful career in the Canadian Football League. We're going to hear his inspiring story and what he had to do to adjust to a post-CFL career. He is also a caregiver for his wife in her 50s and has MS and now also wheelchair bound. So Ernie has made an adjustment both in business and in life. Some of our listeners may know Ernie from his football days in the West Island. And shedding the pounds. Easier said than done, right? We're going to hear from an inspiring gentleman in his 60s that lost 75 pounds and still keeping it off. I want to thank you for tuning in to Life Unrehearsed. And as a reminder, for all your inquiries or assistance with life transitions, elder care planning, and the senior living industry, it'd be my pleasure to help. You can find out more. Just look us up at Lianas Senior Transition Support. That's Lianas, Lianas Senior Transition Support. And many thanks to our technical producer, Maxime, doing double duty on news and producing. You can listen to Life Unrehearsed here on CJD 800 every Sunday at 4 p.m.